Hello, something a wee bit different today. I spoke yesterday about pricing, but it was a bit of a ramble because I was doing my packing at the same time. So I've come in and uh, tidied up the wee spreadsheet I use to work out my pricing. And although something might look like, oh, that's going to be loads of profit, this always exposes the truth for me. So I've tidied it up a wee bit, and I'm going to have a run through that today just to show you how pricing works on eBay. Obviously, my name's Ian and I sell books on eBay, but this works for absolutely any kind of item at all. It takes into account VAT, whether you're registered or not, whether you should be registered. So I'm going to jump onto that now, and we will show you what it is all about. Right, so this, to run it through, all my green boxes are to remind me they're the only ones I should ever change when I'm working with this, because if I change anything else it messes up formulas, etc. So going from the top, just to explain what it all is, and then we'll give you a few examples of how it works. Along the top line is the kind of main calculation. So basic fee, because it's books, it's 11.9, but eBay charge you VAT in that, so it's actually 14.28. Promoted listings averages about 15%. I have them on at the moment, but again, because eBay charges you VAT, it's actually 18% on that total cost. My shipping cost, typically a small parcel, Royal Mail, 48-hour tracked, is £3.29. Costs me about 20 pence to package a typical order. Item cost, we'll come back to how that's calculated in a minute. The profit I want to get for each sale is in here, and again that gets worked out elsewhere, and then that gives you what a total sale price would be. If you're liable to pay VAT on that, that's how much of that total sale price is going to go to the VAT man. The postage that I charge is £3.65, so that's fixed, which means if you take £3.65 from where it's set up at the moment, £9.62, that means that my sale price for the actual items would be £5.97 plus £3.65, which means that my list price per item is going to be £2.99. Now that is because I've got it set up for selling 3 items, and when I sell 3 items it's buy 2 get 1 free. So to work out what the actual item cost is in the listing, so I'd be selling 3 of those at £2.99, but they're getting 1 of them free, so therefore that's how that gets calculated. So that tells me what I need to list the individual items at, along with my postage. VAT back, we'll come to that in a wee while, and that'll also explain what the full profit is. Over here, that is the total value in fees that I'll be paying eBay for this particular sale. Shipping is £3, well, £3.50 almost. eBay fees are £3, and I'm charging £9. So your profit is going to be roughly a third, and that's all very much dependent on whether or not you're into the VAT or not. Right, okay, so I'll show you how I use this to work out my book sales in the first place. So we're going to consider favourite James Patterson as an example. So we'll just put that to, well, let's sell 1 book, and we'll come down the bottom here a wee bit. Now, based on how much stock you've got and your sell-through rate, will tell you how many sales you can actually expect every day. So I just use this to give myself a wee guide. I've not got it coloured or anything because it's just separate. So I've got roughly 5,000 books in stock at the moment, and my sell-through rate is about 1%, wee bit under, wee bit over, but it's round about 1%. So that means I can expect 50 books a day to sell. Okay, so I then just transpose that number and I put that in there. So I know it's 50 pence. 50 books a day I expect to sell with that volume that I've got there. My item cost 25 pence. It varies week to week. Sometimes it goes as high as 30, sometimes it comes down to 20p, but the average item cost is 25p. My shipping, as I said, that's Royal Mail, second class, tracked, £3.29, and my packaging is typically about 20 pence per order. I'm registered for VAT, so I've got that in there. And because it's books, I put a yes in there because that impacts on your basic fee. If it's books, it's 11.9. Just about anything else is 12.9. So these percentages are key. As I say, my average promoted listing rate is about 15%, so I'll leave that where it is there. And I say this is to sell one book. What happens if I sell one book? So the profit for one book at the moment, if I want to make 50 pence, then that means that I need to list all my James Patterson books at £2.98. Yeah, makes sense from that point of view. The total sale price somebody's going to pay for that is £6.63, which to be honest is quite unrealistic, but we'll not go into that at the moment. Now, with books, I touched on this yesterday, when you sell a book, and this includes anything that you charge for shipping of said book, you don't pay VAT on that total. Okay? But if you're registered for VAT, you can claim that VAT back from the VAT man for the VAT that you've paid on your shipping fees, on your packaging, on your listing fees. Obviously not on your item cost, because if you've bought books to sell, if you get them from the charity shop, it's going to be zero rated anyway. But regardless of that, books are zero rated to buy, so you're not going to have any VAT to pay on that. But you can claim the VAT back for the shipping, the packaging, and the listing fees, which in this case works out about £1.10. So your actual total profit for selling that single book for £6.63 is going to be £1.60. But bear in mind that VAT can take a long time to come back to you. It could be an end of year thing, just depending on how your accounts and everything are set up. But that can take a long time to come back. So your cash flow profit is going to be 50 pence. But at some point in the future, you'll have another £1.10 coming into that. So if I was to sell 50 of those books a day, my total profit would be £25. The VAT I can claim back is £55, which gives me £80 a day in net. So that means over a year, I'm going to make £9,125 in cash profit, as it were, but £20,000 in VAT back. But you may have to wait an awful long time to get that. So your full year net profit from that is going to be £29,000, 210. Now this isn't taking into account what it costs you to go out and do your sourcing, what it costs you to pay your monthly shop subscription fees. All of that would have to come off of this total as well, and that can add up to a good few £1,000s. But what it also means is that I can see what my total annual sales for the year would be, is £121,000. If you're doing more than, I think it's £86,000 in sales at the moment, you need to be VAT registered. So to do this, you have to be VAT registered, which means you will get that extra money coming back in. If you're not VAT registered and you're getting close to that VAT limit, then eBay will shut you down, because they're not going to allow you to defraud, because that impacts on them, obviously. So, doing all of that, selling 50 single books a day for £2.98 average listing price, plus charging £3.65, is going to make me just shy of £30,000 a year, probably closer to 25 once I've taken into account all the various other travel costs, shop fees, etc. However, I sell my James Patterson books, because we're using that as an example, for £3.5 each. So that means we can tweak this 50 pence profit number until it gets to where it needs to be. 0.52, still not there. 0.55, we're slightly over. Okay, let's go with 54 pence a book. So that gives us £3.04, which is close enough to £3.5. That'll be 3.04, something more than likely. Which makes a difference to the bottom line we've got here. Our actual per annum profit, it's not changed dramatically. We're up at 9,855 and we're at 20,261 and we're up at 30,122 for the overall. So it's an extra few hundred quid, it's just that few extra pence times 50 times 365, because that's how many days there are in a year. So if we are selling all our books individually to make £30,000, which is not a particularly good wage, you need to be selling them at £3.4 a pop. So if we are selling them in lots of 3, so we'll change that 1 to a 3, then it becomes a bit different, because we're doing our buy 2 get 1 free. So again, £2 profit means that it's roughly £3 a book. Let's put that up to, see if we can get it to match up to £3.05. There we go, £3.05. So £2.8 profit per lot of 3 books getting sold. Means that the total sale price is going to be £9.74. The postage and packing charge is £3.65, which means the sale price for those 3 books is £6.09. But because we're only charging for 2 of them, the list price per item is £3.05. The total VAT that would be due on, the VAT back from that is going to be about £1.62. Just bear in mind, this isn't exact to the penny, because there's lots of going in circles here, but it's to give a fair representation. So our profit's going to be around about £3.70 when we add, our required and our potential VAT back into that there. And the VAT back errs on the side of caution, just so as you know. Right. What else changes down here? So if we're selling 50 items a day, but we're selling them in lots of 3, then that means that we've got 17 sales a day. So that tells us that our daily profit is going to be £35. The potential VAT back is going to be £26.95. So it's £60 a day in profit, which means over the course of the year we're going to make £12,000 in cash profit and £9,000 in VAT back. So by selling the same number of books, our net profit for the year has dropped all the way down to 22,000 from 30,000, which is a big difference. But you have to be realistic. You're not going to sell 50 individual books a day at that price. You're always going to have a blend in these things. So this is just to help you work out what you should be pricing, and this gives you an idea of whether or not it's going to be worth your while as you go. You can see also that the annual sales drop quite dramatically. So instead of it being over 100,000, it's now only 60,000, which is a big difference. It means in theory you don't need to be VAT registered, but you can be. Right, next we're going to do the 5s. So buy 3 get 2 free, and we're going to need to adjust this price to make it work. So list price per item, we want to get that back up to around about £3.05. So what happens if we make that £3? £3.50, £3.56, £3.60. We're getting closer. There you go, £3.63 profit per sale when we're selling them in lots of 5. Now shipping should stay the same. There will be occasions where you're going to have to pay, double the shipping because it ends up being a big heavy order, but you'll take that into account with other variables in the pricing. So £3.63 profit when we're selling lots of 5. Our item cost is now £1.25 because there's 5 of them going out. Our eBay fees, etc., are up to £4.13, and the VAT that we'll be having on all that stuff is £2.12. So £3.5 listing, we're going to make £3.63 profit plus our VAT back, so in theory that's £5.70ish. Because we're selling them in lots of 5 and we're only selling 50 items a day, it means we've only got 10 sales a day going out, which is £36 profit, quite similar to the listing where we're doing the 3. The potential VAT back is £21.25, which means our annual profit is going to be 13,200 in cash profit, as it were, and 7,700 in potential VAT back. So that takes you to £20,000 a year to do 10 items a day. Hope that makes sense. It's only £46,000 in sales. So you can use this to work out, right, that's what I need to be selling an item for to make whatever profit as it goes. How to actually work out what that number is you go to eBay and you type in the name of the author that you're wanting to list, or the item that you want to list. Go to the solds and find out what the right price is to sell it for. So let's change this around. You're a small seller. You're just selling individual items. You are not VAT registered. And it ain't books that you're selling. Right. You've got, say, 500 items. You've got a 1% sell through. It's still going to be small parcels, so that's fine. Your item cost, let's say you're spending £5 on every item that you sell, and that means that that's going to be a 5. Right, so if you're selling that individual item and it's costing you £5, first thing to think about is how much do you want to make in each of those. So I want to make £10 every time I sell something. Yeah? Okay. So that means that your sale price is going to have to be £28.32 for every £5 item that you've got, assuming that you're promoting at 15%. Let's say everything that you buy is really unique and you don't actually need to use promoted listings at all. Changes that quite dramatically. So now it's only £22 that you would need to sell to make your £10 profit per item, which is going to make you about 18 grand a year. But you know you can sell it for 30 quid because you've looked at it on that side. So what happens if you make that £15? What happens if you make that £20? Okay, does that make any kind of sense? Let's keep it at 15 because that takes us, in fact, let's tweak it to nearly 30 quid. Now, £30 in 5, so that's you making £16.50 profit on every item that you sell that you've bought for £5. And you're selling 5 of them a day because you keep about 500 in stock. Yeah. That will make you £82.50 a day in profit, which is £30,000 a year. And you don't have any VAT to pay because you're below the 86,000 and you've not registered for VAT. Yeah? Oh, that makes sense. So this split here, you could be listing it for £30 free postage, or you could say £26.40 plus postage. You can balance that out any way that you like. However, if you're doing that same bit of business and you are registered for VAT, it drops your profit because now you're going to have to pay £4.99 VAT on every sale that you're making, which brings your profit down to £21,000 a year because you're VAT registered, but you're still only making 54,000 in sales, so you don't need to do that. So therefore, maybe you've got double the stock when you get to that point. So you're actually now selling 10 items a day, which takes you over the VAT threshold, which is good because it means you can make more sales. So for selling double, you're now going to make about £42,000 a year. But you're probably going to be promoting it. So let's say 10%. You're not all the way as high as 15% as me because I've got such mass marketed stuff. That changes everything. If you still want to make £16.50 in profit, you're now having to sell that item for 35 quid to get slightly less money coming in because you're doing more of them. But it is 165 a day less your VAT, so £100 profit a day, which is not too bad money. If you still can only sell it for 30 quid, I've gone too low. somewhere in the middle. Right, so you can make £13 profit a day to sell it for the £30 because you're paying the VAT. That means that you're going to make about £30,000 a year. Still at annual sales of 110, selling 10 items a day that you're paying £5 an item for. I hope that all makes some sort of sense. So if you were to sell 20 items a day and you're only buying them for £4, and your shipping costs are still the same, and you still can sell them all for about £30. Oh, I've gone too high again. So there you go. So now you can make £14 profit per item, sell it for 30 quid. So you're still only paying the same amount of VAT, but you're selling 20 a day, which takes you up to £65,000 a year. So by doubling up, you would need 2,000 items in stock, assuming a 1% sell through. You need to be spending £4 on each item as your average selling cost. So you might get stuff for £1, you might get stuff for a tenner, but you need to keep your average round about the £4. Your shipping staying the same, you're not making any changes there. Then that is what you can make. So if you're selling 20 a day, you need to be buying 20 a day, which means that you need to be spending £80 a day on stock coming in. You need to make sure that you've got your postage available to send out. So you're going to be looking at £3.29 times 20 a day. So you need to have about 70 quid for that. So you need cash flow daily of £150 to keep things ticking over, to keep buying the stock and being able to do the postage, which is something, you know, you have to take into account. If you've got up to 2,000 items that are all worth that in your store, then you're probably beyond having that concern about that daily cash flow. But as and when you're starting out, you really want to be thinking about it. If you only have 100 items in stock, so first of all, that's cost you £400 to buy that stock in. So you've got to have that chunk of investment. You're only going to be selling one a day, which means that your profit is 14 less the VAT that you'll have to pay every 3 months. So £9 realistically, which gives you, where are we, £3,283 profit every year, which, say if you're doing this just as a wee part-time thing, that would be great. How long is it going to take you to list, pick and pack one item a day? Not long. Depending how you set up your shipping times, etc., it's maybe a couple of times a week you're going to do that. So you'll have 2 or 3 things to do a couple of times a week, which will take you, minutes plus the time it takes you to go to the post office. And it's the days you go to the post office, you also jump back into the shops or whatever it is you source, and you pick up your next chunk of things, which you'll only have to do periodically. If you're only selling one item a day, you could go out and pick up 10 items, no problem at all, and that's you covered for a week and a half. And then you list them all at one go, but schedule them out one a day as it goes. So it's all very simple. Realistically, somebody's maybe got 250 items in their store, and that's going to turn into 2.5, but we'll call it 3 because everything else rounds to that point, which suddenly means you're making nearly £10,000 a year for very little extra effort, and that's including paying a £10% promoted fee, selling everything for roughly 30 quid, etc. So let's think about a realistic sales scenario with an item that's not books. We have jeans. So you've got somewhere where you can get, pretty decent jeans that sell for £20 each every single day, and you can pick them up for 4 quid a pop. So let's work that through first. Now, to sell jeans, it's competitive, so you're going to be up about 12% on your promoted listings. You're going to be selling them as individual items, and you need to sell them for 20 quid, which means you're probably going to be £5 or £6 profit per item. Let's go £6.50 and see what happens. There we go, £6.50 profit per item, which, if you've got 250, you're selling 3 a day, means that you are going to be below the VAT threshold so you don't need to be registered for that. And your income for that is going to be about £7,000. Selling jeans that you buy for £4 for 20, and selling 3 pairs a day, which means you've got to go out and spend £12 a day and have £15 a day ready to go for your postage. Does that make sense? I really hope that it does. See, I use this spreadsheet for all sorts of things, pricing out individual items to see, where it's actually worth it. For example, let's take a for example. So when I've got one unique book, I can kind of ignore a lot of this down here, but let's see. First up, we need, well, it is a book. Yes, I am VAT registered. My packaging's staying the same. My item cost is going to be staying the same. I'm only going to be doing the one book, although that doesn't actually impact the main calculation here. And I've got a book, for example, I picked up a book and sold it within 10 minutes of listing it the other day. It was an old book, cost me 25p, and I sold it for £25 plus postage. So I need to get this price here up to £25. So let's see what that works out. So it's going to be about £16.50. There you go, £16.50. Well, let's get it even out. Oh, so close. Yeah, I'll do that. £24.99. So £16.38. So this quickly tells me, without having to scratch my head and look at it, that if I've listed that book for £25 plus the postage, with everything else taken into account, I'm going to make £16.38 profit, and I've got another £4.75 in VAT due to come back on the other bits and bobs. It's actually less than that. That calculation's wrong. I've copied something over, but I have got VAT coming back in that. But even ignoring that just now, £16.38 profit for a £25 sale when I've only paid 25p for it. It was zero listing because it was a rare book, so I didn't have it as any promoted at all, which actually brings that down again. So let's tweak this once more. So there, about £20 profit I've made selling that book for 25, £4 in listing fees, yada yada yada. If I was to sell one of them a day all year, I'd do £10,000 in sales, and I'd be cash profiting about £7,500. So if you can pick stuff up for 25p and sell it for 25 quid, then you can do quite nicely out of it. Right, that's how this thing works. If anybody's interested in like a copy of this, I don't know how to send it, but I'm sure there's a way to share it with peeps, and you can see how it all works and goes. It's nothing fancy, it's just what I use, and like I say, I've done something to that VAT number when I've been copying it over onto this sheet that's given the total VAT for the total sale, which is not what it should be. It should be the total VAT for the 329, the 0.2, the £4.11. So yeah, I'll go in and tweak that afterwards. Right, that's it. I hope this has been helpful one way or another. It gives you an idea of what you need to be thinking about. One last thing actually. If I want to work out what I need to actually make a living off of this, then this is how I can do it. What have we got? That's going to be back up at 15%. So £2.98, roughly £3 a book. I'm not going to tweak it about too much to make any difference there. If I'm selling books, I've got them listed for round about £3 each, and I've got 10,000 of them instead of the 5,000 that I've got, then that will make me 18,000 in cash, plus a potential, it's going to be less than that, probably about £20,000 in VAT back, which is going to make me about 40 grand a year annual sales of nearly $250,000. So I'm a big reseller. I do over £100,000 a year. Chances are not making an awful lot of money off the back end. Do not be deceived by people talking about these huge numbers. You don't make an awful lot of money once eBay's had their cut and you've paid your postage, etc., unless you've got lots of really high value items and they sell consistently. So you can make a lot of money on eBay, but to become a millionaire, let's see what it would take to become a millionaire. Let's say we've got 1 million books, which means we're selling 10,000 a day. So there we go. Let's forget about the VAT number just now, because let's say that's erroneous. 1.8 million a year if you've got 1 million books in stock. But if you've got 1 million books in stock, I've said before, 5,000 books fills a kind of average size bedroom. And that's what I use, so that's how I know that. So to have 1 million books, so 1 million is 1,000,000. So that's 200 bedrooms you would need to do that. What's the rental space on that going to be? It's going to be a big chunk of that profit. If you're trying to process 10,000 items a day, then you're going to need a lot of staff, and that's going to get into a whole big chunk of that profit. I'm not even going to guesstimate what all of that might be. So you could be doing nearly 25 million a year in sales and walking out with a couple of 100,000, and that's if you can sell them all as single books. If you're selling them in the fives, because you're doing buy 3 get 2 free, then that's very different again. You're only going to be doing 2,000 sales a day, so it's less handling. You still need all of that storage space. You're still going to need the staff to deal with all of that, but you're going to be netting about £7,000 a day, and your profit after everything is going to be 2.6 million, which is quite nice. Let's be honest, you could live with that. With the whole VAT bit coming back, there's obviously another chunk of change on top of that. But that's a big enterprise. That's a big business with lots of people involved. How do you source 10,000 books a day? You'd need to be thinking, so you're going to have things in place to do that. So when you step up to a certain level, it becomes a whole different enterprise. I mean, if you were operating at that level, this type of spreadsheet would be completely irrelevant. Your shipping costs, if you're shipping large quantities, and I don't know where it starts, but you've got a contract with one of the big shipping companies, Every, Yodel, whoever it might be, and you're paying them per total weight shipped on a day. So instead of it being like £2.80 for anything up to 2 kilos, £2.80 per 2 kilos. So it could be £2.80 to ship out 5 orders if they're all fairly light. You get the idea, which greatly reduces that and completely changes the rest of it. But it gives you an idea of, if you want to be a millionaire selling things like books on eBay, that's where you need to be. You need to have 1 million books to sell. And let's say I've got 5,000, and that's a lot. It's not a lot, it's a lot in the space that I've got available. So there's an awful lot more you need to scale up to deal with on that side. I heard that one of the big sellers has got 7 million books in stock. So they're doing 70,000 a day. But they don't charge postage. So let's just delete that and see what happens. Which means that the list price is going to be, actually, they deal with singles, so let's put that there. List price per item. To be honest, I can't even work that out with this because I need to change everything else to make it work. But yeah, I've got 5,000, so I do 50 sales a day, and it jumps all the way back down to where it should be. So it's not making a lot of money. Like at the moment, my cash across the year is £9,000, way below minimum wage. With the VAT coming back in, so bear in mind, I'm in my third VAT cycle, and I've still not had the refund through for them for the VAT that I'm due for any of those cycles. So we'll see how long that actually takes to materialise, and I've got a feeling it might be a kind of end year audit thing. And we'll see what comes of that. But that's what all of this is. That's how it works. If you want to do pricing, you've got to take all of these things into account to work out whether it's worthwhile. Actually, one more. Item cost 0.1. DVDs. There's VAT due on DVDs. It's not books. Sorry, I'm VAT registered. It's not books, so therefore there's VAT to pay. I've only got maybe 500 books. So 500 books, 500 DVDs, so say 5 a day in an order, right? It's 12.9. The promoted listing on that's about 12% it works out as, and I never sell them in anything less than bundles of 5. So I sell them for about £2.20 each plus postage. So at the moment that's saying £2.51. So let's take that down to, didn't go low enough. Oof. And that'll do. Right, so for every 5 DVDs I sell, to get £3 profit, they go for £2.20 each. Buy 3, get 2 free, plus £3.65 in postage. But they're not books, therefore I have to pay VAT on my total sales, which costs me £1.71, which means my actual profit, and that's cash profit, is £1.29 for every 5 DVDs that I sell. Now again, something that this doesn't take into account, and I'm going to go in and add it, actually it's not something I particularly need, but to make it complete I will add it in, that although that's the VAT that I'm going to get charged, I do also get VAT back on these. So I've got VAT to come back on my £3.49 postage and packaging, my £3 eBay fees, so about £6.50 worth of VAT to come back when I'm paying VAT on £10.29. So really I'm only paying about 60% of that for VAT, which is going to be about 90p. So that profit goes up to nearly £2, but it ain't the 3 that I've asked for because I've got the VAT to take into account. So anyway, if you can buy DVDs 10 for £1 or cheaper, and you can find a way to bundle them up and sell them, then it's another nice wee running as you go. But I've got a few hundred, and to be honest, I don't even sell 5 a day. It's probably every 2 to 3 days I'll sell a bundle of 5. So it's much lower than that. So you can kind of ignore this line for your overall annual profit. But when you add all of these things together, they start adding up and making sense and making money. But working out the price of something, what it needs to be to make it worth your while, I use this tool. It helps. You could be picking stuff up for, oh, that's only £8 and I can sell it for 25. So that's really good deal. £8 and I can sell it for 25, right? So £8 and I can sell it for 25, and it's going to be that there, and I've got my promoted listing on it. I'm not registered for VAT, right? I'm buying it for 8 and I can sell it for 30. So that means I can make 12 quid. Oh no, I can't make 12 quid. I can make £9. Yeah, I can make £9 on each of those items because I'm buying it for £8. So suddenly you're not trebling your money. You sure as hell ain't 5 times in it. You're doubling it. So it gives a realistic picture on that side. So if you want to make £9 profit on an £8 item, we are using promoted listings, etc., then it's going to make you 16 grand a year if you're selling 5 of them a day. I don't know what average sales are, or average sales. So usually people say, oh, I've got 10 items going out today. So you can do 10 a day, which means you're going to need about 1,000 in stock. Then you make 30 grand. It's not, if you've got a good job, or any job, and you're able to do that on top of it, then that's a great wee bonus, but it's not going to make you a millionaire. Plus, that actually takes you over the VAT. So you do pay VAT. So now you're only making £14,000. So something else to consider. If you're doing all of that, what's the number that keeps you below the VAT? So actually 7 items a day is what you can sell before you have to start paying VAT. That'll make you 22 grand a year. And that's, to be honest, I've run this with loads of different permutations. That's round about the cap of what you can make on eBay before you have to go down the VAT route. And once you go down the VAT route, if it's VAT chargeable items, which is nearly everything, then you'd need to go from 7 up to, there you go, 20 a day to be making just a little bit more. Yeah, that's actually going to be slightly higher than that. It's probably getting you close to 36 to 40,000 pounds a year. But then 20 a day means you're sourcing 20 a day. You're picking and packing 20 a day. That's becoming much closer to a full-time job to be able to manage that. It won't take you necessarily 8 hours a day to do it, but you're going to need time every day, a chunk of time every day that you can actually set aside when you have access to post offices, whatever it might be, the shops, etc. So it becomes quite limited. Anyway, I am going to end it there. I hope that's been helpful or informative in one way or another to at least one of you, please. I hope this has helped. If it has, leave a comment, hit a like, whatever it might be. If anybody wants a copy of this wee calculator, which is not something that you can go 100%, I'm going to make £215,000 in sales. It gives you a guide predominantly to come up with what your list price should be. And then I use the rest to give me an indication of what that might look like over a larger period or based on the volume of stock that I've got, and anybody could use it for anything. So if anybody wants a copy of this, let me know. I'll work out how I can share it and get it out there. Took a long time to develop this, so a couple of grand and it's yours. Anyway, that's all for today. I shall see you all later. I'll find the stop button for this recorder thing, and I hope this audio's been okay. Bye!